right, everybody, on Top 5 tonight, we got a good one. We're listing our top 5 worst sports losses of all time.
Welcome to Top 5 with Joey Cassata. Starring Joey Cassata.
Team Jesus, my friend. Am I walking around, Park?
Co-starring Ernie Palooza. And the Doctor, Tommy Snyder.
Goddamn.
Now here's your host, Joey Cassata.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Top 5. I'm your host, Joey Cassata.
I'm Ernie.
You are not Ernie. You're not as handsome as my boy Ernie.
I have too much hair. Barely.
You know what? You could pass for Ernie right now, I bet you.
Maybe.
For the people out there, you could pass for Ernie.
Okay.
The glasses. Yeah, the voice gives it away.
Okay.
No, but we got
to be Ernie today.
We got returning. We got Big Head Billy. There he is.
Barely contain my head on the screen.
And
Don't watch
back,
this in portrait.
We also have invited him back, even though his ratings were really low last time. We figured we'd give him one more chance. We got our boy Greg. What's up, Greg?
What's up? What's going on?
Welcome back.
Great to be back. Awesome show. Been watching all along.
What was your last episode? Mafia movies?
Yeah, the Mafia movies.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Didn't Ernie not tell you the right
The topic or something?
type, the right way or something?
It was supposed to be top scenes, and Ernie just told me movies.
He's close.
A little bit off.
Yes, we got a different crew tonight. Ernie couldn't make it tonight, and of course, the doctor is completely MIA. We have
He's
no
out
idea
making house calls.
Yep. I mean, he was scheduled to be on. Sent us a text a few minutes before. Can't make it. Something came up. Now, what could have come up? Let's hypothetically look into this, Billy. What do you think came up in the doctor's life?
Oh, it's clear. He had nothing to drink. That was the problem.
Greg, what do you think? Any chances of alcohol not being involved in this situation?
Alcohol is definitely involved. I'm thinking maybe, I don't know. I don't know what could have possibly come up.
I'm assuming there was something going on. Someone had a bottle somewhere and and a couple cups.
I did read in the Post that Ozzy was having a special surgery today, and maybe he needed some blood, and Snyder had to go donate some blood. I don't know.
Snyder's blood might be the only blood that Ozzy could take.
What organ?
The only transfusion.
Yeah, what organ do you think Tommy could give Ozzy if he could give one?
His eyelashes.
So the reason for tonight's episode, we us three are really big New York Ranger fans. We just had a miserable series against the Lightning. Rangers are up 2-0 in the series, 2-0 in Game 3. After that, completely dead. On their asses, they scored three more goals. I think three more goals the rest of the way. And the Lightning scored 12, swept the rest of the games. Four straight. Absolutely miserable.
There was a glimmer of hope. And not only did they blow a 2-0 lead, they were up 2-0 in Game 3 in the second period. So just, again, we always joke around about the hope aspect of it, but being a Ranger fan is very difficult. And, you were trying to downplay it. This is defending Stanley Cup champs, and they win 2. And you're like, oh, it's pretty good. Still not fully comfortable. Up 2-0, the level peaks, and then the train hits the wall. Just like that.
And it didn't just hit the wall either. Listen, if they just lost these last 4 games, these things happen. They looked so flat I don't. I'm assuming it has a lot to do with coaching because Tampa must have changed their game plan. I definitely think they did with their forecheck and stuff, but they changed their game plan, and the Rangers had no answers for it, or they just forgot to shoot the puck and started to skate slower. I don't have an explanation.
And then they would always add like the late goal just to pique your interest.
Oh my God! The
other
last
night,
game, of course.
the other night,
I was the only one that had faith.
Right.
I was
Yes,
the only
that
one
is
that
true.
had faith. That penalty came. I said, right here, right now, they score that goal, and I'm like, in your face.
Yeah. Before the
Lasted-
before the text went through, they went up again.
I know.
21
I
seconds.
and I couldn't pull it back fast enough.
21 seconds we had joy.
So that sparked the topic for tonight's episode. Our misery is going to be your enjoyment out there when you hear some of the moments we've gone through as sports fans. So we're going to do professional or college sports losses in our life. And I guess in our lifetime, I'm assuming that's what I'm doing, that I've experienced firsthand. We're not going to do in our our lives, whether it's wiffle ball, baseball, basketball, football. We'll save that for another time because I've cranked many a home run off a big head Billy before.
Not too often, but
So let's start. Let's see where we are. I mean, I don't even know. I'm not even sure I know all your sports teams, you two guys. But let's start with Greg. Let's go with your number 5 sports loss of all time.
All right. So number 5 is my only basketball game. I wasn't really a big basketball fan growing up. My teams are the Mets, the Jets, the Rangers, and the Knicks just by default because we played at Madison Square Garden. So
you have a lot of heartbreaking stuff coming up.
100%.
top 10.
Well, just this, there's Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, Lemieux. Those 3 people killed my whole life. My whole adult life, Tom Brady has destroyed my football for, just him and Jordan in the 90s. But getting back to the basketball game, I got into basketball again in 94 because the Rangers were in the Cup.
Of course.
And the Knicks were playing well, and they went to the championship game.
Yeah.
And the Rangers won on like June 14th, I think, and the Knicks were still in their 7-game series with the Houston Rockets. So my number 5 pick is Game 7, the Knicks against the Rockets. John Starks shits the bed, can't hit a 3-pointer, and the Knicks lose. And I think he goes like 2 for 17 or something from 3-point range. It was just.
Were they up by 2 and was it like a home series like that, or they were?
Yeah, no, they I don't remember if they lost 6 and 7 or if they won 6 to get to 7. I'm not sure. But that Game 7, it was
what was the game? I remember this like it was yesterday. Patrick Ewing had the open lane to dunk, and he tried to do a finger roll, and it just went off the rim, and they lost that game. That might have been Game 5 or 6. I don't remember what game that was, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I mean,
and
that was a great team. That Knick team. I love that Knick. That Knick team was awesome.
I don't remember the details, but similar to what you were saying, Greg, I didn't really follow basketball, but like it was all going on at the same time. So like you sort of, we were going out to watch the Ranger games in the bars, and the Knick game usually didn't play on the same night, but you kind of got into it, right? Because it was a New York thing. It was fun to watch. And
it was electric.
Yeah, it was just when would I don't think that's happened since then, right? That they had 2 teams playing for championships, especially hockey and basketball. I mean, the futility between these 2 organizations, is just terrible. But
I always think about, because I remember that run that the Knicks had with the Rangers too. The Rangers won the Cup, and then we were watching the Knicks in the finals. I don't know, when did it happen that it got reversed? Because now
this year.
Yeah,
First time this year.
Are you sure? No, but I think the last few years the Cup has been first.
No, this is.
I mean the opposite. I mean the finals have been first.
Now, it was only because of COVID that usually the Cup went first because they didn't want to get into the ratings with the NBA. So
right,
they tried to coordinate it, and the Cup usually was awarded before the NBA finals, or the final games in the NBA.
Right.
It all depends. This year, definitely, the NHL went long because of they were supposed to play in the Olympics and then COVID, and then they took that week off around Christmas time because they were afraid of the COVID cases. So, yeah, that
Good
was
start.
definitely
Yeah,
disappointing.
that Knicks team destroyed the city. I remember. I mean, obviously they haven't. When was the last time the Knicks won?
In the
71,
I think.
Yeah,
Ugh.
I think it was 71.
it's just
And
crazy.
I
to
got-
think about that.
I've never seen it, so.
Yeah,
I'm not a big basketball fan. When was the last time they were even in the finals? Have they been in the finals since then?
No, I think that was it.
Yeah, crazy.
That was their last finals run.
Wow.
You got to remember Jordan throughout.
Oh, of course.
He got a great team, but
Yeah.
Jordan was just Jordan.
Yeah, the Knicks had to go through the Bulls in the 90s, and there was no way. Obviously, they were getting through the Bulls.
and they had the Pistons, I think, a couple of times.
Sure.
One of them, So it wasn't fun.
Good start. Come on, Bill. Where you going? Number
So
5.
I could have just did 5 Rangers things because, and it's just kind of silly. Like, yeah, it is only a game, but it just, I remember being so upset one time when they blew it, and my mother was like, "It's just a game, there's more things in the world than that, God doesn't care about sports." I said, "Ma, that's where you're wrong, right? It is just a game, but you know how many, he would have made 8 million people happy, right? So what's the big deal? He can't let them win. You know what I mean? Like it is, you're right. It's just a game. He couldn't have done something for it. So it was just, futility with that. But I tried to pick other sports where I was devastated. Same sports alignment that Greg has. Misery. It's misery, right? But I'll never forget. Like, so the year before, the New York Jets, right? Year before they go 0-3. I get to go to my only football game I go to against the Houston Oilers.
Wait, what year is this?
This is 81.
Okay.
81 or 82. The 81 season. So that starts the sack exchange. That game starts it. They
Gastineau and what's his name?
Abdul Salam and what was
Marty
it?
Lyons.
Joe
Marty
Klecko.
Lyons, right. Yeah, Klecko, right? Yeah.
And then they make the playoffs and they lose, right? So, but at least they had a winning season, and it was fun to watch. Next season, they start playing. They have the strike. They come back from the strike. They make the playoffs. They're playing the Bengals. They destroy the Bengals. They win 44-17, right? They go out to Los Angeles to play the Raiders. And at the time, the Raiders had decent teams. They beat the Raiders 17-13. And they were playing well. So now they got to beat Miami in Miami, right? And Miami's defense, I don't believe, was that great. And they had Free McNeil.
Son of a bitch, you son of a bitch. My number 1. Number 77?
Well,
Number 77?
Well, let me finish. I don't know what numbers they are. They go down to Miami, and the Jets' running game was real strong. And before the game goes, the Dolphins left the top off the field last night. It poured out. It was pouring. Like, they get on the field, and the Jets lose 14-0. They have nothing to show. They can't even run. They can't do a thing. And AJ Dewey.
Number 1, you son of a bitch.
I can't believe it.
Dewey. I remember, and I love football. That set me back.
I don't know this at all. This is a little bit for me. Who's AJ Dewey?
Brutal.
He played for Miami, and
Okay.
he was a defensive player. And
Linebacker.
he just jumped up. Richard Todd goes to throw the ball, and the guy just on a screen pass. The guy jumps and catches it. No one's catching anything. This guy grabs the ball down and scores.
6-6. Oh.
I did
7-0. We had the ball late. We're driving late fourth quarter.
Yep.
He already has 2 interceptions. He's a linebacker.
Wow.
It's an AFC championship game. We're going to the Super Bowl. Richard Todd turns. He threw 5 interceptions that game.
Oh my God.
He turns and he throws. Basically, it's not a screen, maybe 1 yard off the line of scrimmage. Like just a quick to the receiver. And AJ Dewey jumps. I don't know how he jumps because everyone else is sliding.
And they're in the mud.
He looks like Superman. Jumps in the air, intercepts it, pick 6. Game over. 14-0.
The Mud Ball.
The field was an absolute quagmire.
I've never seen a field like this. We ought to get little boats out here or something, and paddle around. It's pretty bad.
The Jets' advantage in that game was their speed on offense, and the Dolphins' defense completely thwarted them, and A.J. Dewey was a huge reason.
With their running game swamped, the Jets were forced to pass,
Intercepted by Dewey.
leaving some to wonder about strategic groundskeeping.
Before there was Bill Belichick, there was Don Shula.
And a lot of people like to think that Don Shula planted that, like he went out there with a hose at midnight.
Don Shula conveniently says, let's not cover the field because it never rains in Florida.
Coach Walt Michaels, I talked to him this morning. He's furious that there was no tarp on this field.
Fans cry, they didn't cover the field. They're too bad. It's football. You play outside.
But our number 5 playoff performer's day defied the sloppy conditions.
He was covered in mud, and to end up with 3 picks, it was really a remarkable performance.
Oh, I'll be including that clip into this episode.
I was devastated. I mean, I honestly, I did not watch another game of theirs for like 3 years.
Oh,
It just like destroyed me. I had this wardrobe closet in my room. I knocked it over. I started kicking you. My mother's like, "What are you doing?" The Jets lost. She's like, "What is going on?"
So what season is this again, Bill? 83?
No, it's the 82 season, but it's the playoff, so it's January.
Right, so January 83.
I looked it up. It was January 23rd, 83.
Yep.
Right.
And to make things worse, the Rangers lost that night. On top of that, I thought, all right, at least I got the Rangers. And then they blow.
Oh yeah. All right, good start. I love that you took Billy Greg's number 1 already, Bill. Good work.
Usually we were on one time with Steve, Greg, and Steve went first. He took 4 of mine, I think. It's like he saw my list.
All right, my number 5, I'm going to start. So growing up, I'm a big Yankee fan, obviously, as you can see. Growing up, I never got to see the Yankees win. So I know, obviously, they won throughout the 90s and all that stuff. But me, growing up, as a kid, I started watching baseball, I don't know, 8 years old, I guess, which is around 1982. So it was after all the late 70s Yankees championships. I know they went to the World Series in 81 and lost to the Dodgers, but I don't remember any of that. I started watching basically when Mattingly came up, which was 83, 84, right around that area. So that's when I really started loving the Yankees. So all throughout the 80s and early 90s, I never saw the Yankees win. Never got to even the playoffs. We never got to the playoffs at all. Yankees had some great teams in the 80s with with Winfield and Henderson and Mattingly and all this stuff, but they never made it to the playoffs. Never won the division. There was no wild cards yet. First year of the wild cards turned out to be Mattingly's last year, 1995. Yankees finally get into the playoffs because of this wild card. I don't care how they got in; they're in. It doesn't matter. Mattingly has a shot at the World Series, or even it's his first playoff game ever. My favorite player of all time, one of the greatest players in major leagues during the 80s, never made the playoffs. They finally get, you guys know the story. They get to the 95 playoffs against the Mariners, and it's a 5-game series. Game 5, it's 2-2. I think the Mariners are home. I don't remember yet. The Mariners are home because the Yankees are the wild card, right? So the bullpens are depleted. It's late. I don't know if it's extra inning. I think it's extra innings. Bullpens are depleted. The Mariners start bringing in their big guns. They bring Randy Johnson out of the bullpen to start mowing the Yankees down. Yankees can't do anything against Randy Johnson. He looks like he's so big. It looks like the ball's coming out of his hand and going straight into the glove. He's like
an inch.
Like an inch, like this. How could you possibly hit it? It looks like his arm is crossing over the batter's head. Yeah. Impossible to hit. So the moron Yankees bring in Blackjack McDowell, who's our answer for fucking Randy Johnson. And Blackjack was okay. We had Cone that year already. I think we got Cone in a trade that year, I think. Blackjack comes in. gets rocked. I can see it like it was yesterday. I see that moron Griffey crossing home plate.
They would love a base hit into the gap, and they could win it with Junior speed to stretch. And the 0-1 pitch on the way to Edgar Martinez. Swung on and lined down the left field line for a base hit. Here comes Joy. Here is Junior to third base. They're going to wave him in. The throw to the plate will be late. The Mariners are going to play for the American League Championship. I don't believe it. It just continues. My, oh my.
Celebrating, and the Yankee dream is over. Obviously, they go on to win, 4 of the next 5 World Series. But before that 95 playoff destroyed me as a Yankee fan. My first experience to get to the playoffs, didn't know it was Mattingly this last year, but even when I heard that Mattingly was retiring, even worse. That crush. Mattingly had a great playoff, hit a couple home runs, hit like 400, but it destroyed me. Deadly.
It's a shame. I was a Met fan growing up. The Ranger fans hated the Islanders. The Met fans hated the Yankee fans. It was just
of course,
hated. But somewhere along the line, and it was through the 90s, I don't have a disdain during the Yankees anymore. Like, I'll root for them in the American League until they get to the championship. If we play each other this year, I'm all in Mets. But it's funny, right? I think it was the Mattingly era that actually changed me. I think he was such a solid, good baseball, good guy that you had to respect him. It was like everyone loved Mattingly, so it was kind of you could appreciate him, And he wasn't as brash as some of the others, like the Winfields and the Guidrys, so
he always did and said the right thing. And out of any Yankee who didn't win, he's got to be at the top of the list, right?
Oh,
it's like a guy who's
number one. Yeah, he's number one.
I think everybody would say, and like you said, Joe, who knew he wasn't going to be on the team, and what a shame, right? They go on to win 3, to win the 3, and he's not there, So
well, when did they pick up what's his name, the first baseman?
Tino. They got him in the offseason.
It wasn't that he wasn't there in 95.
No, no, because he was on the Mariners in 95.
Yeah.
Tino was on the Mariner team in 95 that beat us.
So because I'm not familiar, did the Yankees sign Tino and then Mattingly resigned?
No, Mattingly resigned, and then we picked up a first baseman, which was Tino, obviously. And obviously they went on to win the World Series. And all the greats in Yankee history, they all have World Series. All the great Yankees except Mattingly.
And was Showalter the coach then?
Yeah. Yep.
So I remember when they announced, and again, me and Greg are like the same from a sports affiliation, right? Hated the Yankees, most of the time. But when the Mets had Joe Torre as their coach, and I'm like, why are they hiring Joe Torre? What is wrong with them? This guy has got to be one of his record as a coach up until that point, I think, was terrible.
Oh, the back page of the Post, Clueless Joe.
Yeah,
right. And wasn't he? I think he coached Atlanta. Maybe he had a little success in Atlanta, but definitely had none with the Mets. I remember he would play for the Mets.
He was a player manager for the Mets. Yeah.
He went out in the field and he played,
No, but Buck built that team. I mean, obviously he's with the Mets now, but Steinbrenner was suspended earlier in the 90s. I forget why exactly, some kind of tampering, right? I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was suspended. And Buck and Gene Michael built the Yankees, built the dynasty.
Yeah, Stick Michaels.
Stick. They did everything, and that's where obviously they went on to win all those championships, but that's all because of Buck and Gene Michael. All of them.
And it's kind of funny sometimes when that happens, because similar when the Rangers had their success, their general manager, Craig Patrick, right? He drafted Brian Leach. He drafted all those guys,
of course.
And then he's gone, right? So like the MVP of the playoffs that year is Brian Leach, and
and Neil gets all the credit for it.
Right, Neil Smith got all the credit for it.
The only good thing I'll say about Joe Torre was I always loved him because he was a Marine Park guy.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Right. Of course.
And like you said too, it's like New York is like probably one of the only cities where teams make it to the championship game and half the city hates them. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Every city, almost every city, everybody's out there going crazy, but and half the city.
Well, most cities don't have two teams.
No, right.
And
LA.
even right, no, but you know what? Even like California, California is so big. Most of the California teams still have their own areas. It's not like, you know, even though LA has the two, but you know,
10
San
miles
Francisco
away.
and Oakland, and you know,
Stadiums are 10
everything
miles
is
away.
so far away from each other. Right.
Right.
During that, do you remember a couple of years ago they had the home and home because there was a rain out?
Yeah. Right. The same day, right?
Day game at
Yeah.
Citi Field, and then the night game at Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
Greg, I don't know if you remember, but we went, Joe, I think you were there too. We went to like the first Subway series when they started doing it. My job got tickets. So I made the big mistake. I got one ticket free from my company, and then I could buy all these tickets. So we bought all the tickets. And so we're going there, and we're sitting with all the people I work with.
The upper deck.
And Snyder starts chanting, Billy Sanders.
Yes.
And then we're with like 8 other people, and they're all chanting my name. And I'm like, I did not contemplate this happening while I was inviting everybody to go.
Well, inviting Snyder to a game with people from work could never ever be a good idea.
It wasn't the
wasn't one of the chants, Billy Steals. Billy Steals.
Check the draw.
Hold on. Speaking of Snyder, Greg asked us before we went on the air, are you wearing an official top 5 shirt? We love that shirt, Billy.
This is not an official top 5 shirt. I did not find it on my own. Snyder actually texted this shirt in a text chat that we had, and I scoured the internet to find it. And fortunately, I found it. And I thought that he designed this shirt because nothing could be more fitting, right? Nothing could be more fitting than this shirt. And nobody drinks like till you're a Snyder like Snyder. Nobody.
Perfect. It's a perfect sentence.
Right? It is.
Perfect,
it's just
because it's almost an impossible goal to reach.
That is true. There's not many people, you know, we were joking before that Ozzy was having an operation today, and maybe that's why Tommy couldn't make it tonight. And we said Tommy's blood would be the only blood that Ozzy could accept because it's on the same level.
The only transfusion that would work in Ozzy's body would be the doctor.
I can't do an Ozzy voice, but you could just see him going, Sharon, let's get Snyder's blood.
Give me some of that boy Snyder.
It's already seasoned. It's already broken in. It's all set to go right into Ozzy's arms.
It's like a broken in first baseman's glove.
That's it. It's perfect.
I can just picture the two of them like Frankenstein and like another body on the 2 slabs of stone, just getting the transfusions.
Ernie's in between them with the needles.
Let it feel.
Hold still.
Come on, Greg. Number 4. Where are you?
Number 4. You know, I'm gonna. Should I pull a Snyder and pull something else out? I don't know what to do because my number 1's gone.
Nah, you could change it up a little if you want.
All right, what I'm gonna do, I'll go to my number 3. Number 4, New York Met fan. 2007. We have a 7-game lead with 17 games to go. It is almost mathematically impossible to lose this lead.
Almost.
And somehow, my New York Mutts find a way. And we're at the last game. We're playing the Marlins, and I have Tom Glavine on the mound. And I say, come on, Tom Glavine won so many.
That's why you got him.
Yeah, that's where he got him for this one game. And I was so into the Mets at this time, like so into them. And he gives up 7 runs in the first inning.
Did he give up 7 runs in the first inning?
The first inning.
Oh.
And I was just sitting there in my living room with a can of beer saying, this is going to be a great game. This is going to be a great game. I'm not even a beer into it. And it's over.
You know,
but you know
always
what?
wonder-
If you're gonna lose, at
Yes,
least it's
that's the way to
over.
lose.
It's over immediately. Yep.
give me no hope.
Horrible. Horrible.
Every year I say that it's so difficult when you get close and you lose, and then you gotta like the regular season almost starts to not be enjoyable because you got to get to the playoffs, right?
Of course, not almost.
You know,
not
you lose
enjoyable,
track
it's
of it.
not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Right.
But
It's
people-
like you got to wait.
People don't understand. People, when your mom said, "Oh, it's just a game, Billy. It's just a game." Listen, we know it's all just a game. Here's my issue. I love watching sports. I love watching ESPN, and I love watching sports talk shows. I listen to sports talk radio. I listen to Michael Kay every day. I listen to all this stuff. I can't listen to any of it. I can't even put on ESPN because when my team, like the Rangers, lost the other night, I can't watch anything sport related for at least a week because I'm immediately brought back to that moment and I'm miserable. So it literally ruins my week of entertainment.
I drove in on Monday morning knowing that Boomer was going to be talking.
Of course.
What's his name? The Islanders
Gio?
goal.
No.
On ESPN.
DiPietro?
DiPietro. I know that they were going to be talking about it. I said, I can't listen to this. What the hell am I going to do?
Yeah.
I drove to work listening to Playground.
Yes.
Oh, what an option.
It's our
And
first
as I'm
time.
driving, it's like the
Greg.
third heart once lived.
How'd that make you feel, Greg? You
and
didn't
look-
stop on a bridge, did you?
Something tells me Greg looked like that guy behind you, Billy, in your screen there.
Oh, it is so difficult when I listen to the NHL Network. So I was listening it to the last few days, and they have all the guys and they talk about it, and they made you feel a little better. Greg, what you said the other day, yesterday, whatever,
The
and Joey
text Greg
responded.
sent, the worst.
Greg, Joey
We're ahead of
responded.
schedule.
That's what one guy. So one guy said. He said those exact words. He goes, "No one expected them to get this far. They're ahead of schedule." And all I was hoping the other announcer said is,
Your ass
says." I would have died.
It drives me crazy because you know how hard it is to get through 3 series.
Yeah.
And to win the 2 series they won the way they won it, down 3-1, down 2-0, to come back from those series and then get to game 7 of this series, well, not even game 7, game 6, I guess, to this series and lose, it could take another 20 years to get to the conference final. It could take that long.
What I'm going to tell you right now, Joe, is have faith.
No.
The 95 Yankees, that horrible loss.
You're right.
They next 4 out of 5, right? The
never
Rangers are going to get there.
That's true.
Listen, Tampa Bay is just, they've done it through 2 times in a row. They did 2 things. The Rangers ran out of gas and they stopped the east-west passing that the Rangers did. That's all they did is they clogged the middle. They let them go up the sides and they clogged the east-west pass. And the Rangers had no answer for it, whether that's
that's scary, right? You got to have an
whether that's
answer.
coaching or whatever that is.
Well, you got to learn, you know. I mean,
Your ass has to learn.
My ass has learned. But you know what? At the same point, no team has won a Stanley Cup that went the first 2 series, went to a game 7, and that's going to stay true.
Yeah, I get it. They were tired.
You get tired.
I get it. Yeah.
You get tired. You know, it is true. Every other night, you know, battling these big guys trying to get to the front of the net, you know, I get tired throwing the garbage out. You know, I can imagine those guys, you know, more than one bag. I'm winded. I got to go back up that stairs and grab the other bag. I'm not smart enough to take both at the same time. You know, it makes you tired, you know.
Come on, number 4, Billy.
All right. So this one is a little off the charts, but there's an indirect way and related to hockey why I was devastated by this. But in 1982, the Rangers played the Flyers in the first round, and the big bad Flyers and the Rangers had the Smurfs, you know, had this small team. Eddie Mio was the goalie, and they beat the Flyers 3-1, right? The Islanders are 2 cups in, right? So I'm like, oh, they're going to play the Islanders. We know what's going to happen. The Islanders are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. They win game 1, 8-1. They win game 2, 7-2. And at that time, the first round was 5 games. So they 1 win away. Rangers season's over if they face the Islanders, right? Somehow the Penguins win the next game in overtime. They win game 4. There's a game 5 on the island. They're playing the game, and at the time, we didn't have cable in our area, and actually, I was sick and had to stay at my aunt's house. So I'm listening to the game on an AM radio in a bedroom sitting there. Midway through the second period, the Penguins score and go up 3-1, and I'm like, this can't happen, right? This can't happen. Third period starts. They keep on playing. They're at the 16-minute mark. They're still up 3-1. I'm like, there's 4 minutes left. The Penguins are going to win, and the Rangers destroyed the Penguins, right? They're destroying the Penguins, and we're going to the next round after that. Well, Al Arbor, the coach of the Islanders, there was a new rule added in that if you switch goalies, the Islanders were about to get a power play, right? They were going on the power play. The team was tired. They were pushing. So if you switch goalies, you were allowed to warm up your goalie for 2 minutes. Right? Brilliant. You were allowed to throw pucks on the ice and shoot on the goalie for 2 minutes.
Really?
So he pulls Billy Smith out of the net. Everybody's baffled, like, what is he doing? He warms him up. Rolly, the goalie, played 23 seconds. Smith goes back in. Islanders score on the power play.
What did he do? Just to get them a rest?
Just to get him a 2-minute rest.
Like an extra timeout.
So they canceled that rule after this. They score, and now it's 3-2. And I'm like, all right, they're still up a goal. There's 3 minutes left. They score and tie it. I'm like, we got to be kidding me. Go to overtime.
Oh.
John Tonelli scores and wins and crushes me. Like, I don't even care about either team, but I know what was going to happen. The 4 years that the Islanders won the Stanley Cup, they beat the Rangers every year on their way to the Stanley Cup. And I first started liking the Rangers in 79 when they went to the finals against the Canadiens. And just picture 5 years, because not only did the Islanders win 4 straight Stanley Cups, they went to the finals in the 5th year, which was insane when you think about it. They won 19 straight playoff series. And they were talking about the stats. They won like 70-something games and only lost like 20 in the playoffs, which was astounding and crazy in itself. But it was just torture. And, you know, like Ernie's dad was an Islander fan, and he didn't really rub it in, but he gave you a slight jab here and there, you know?
Yeah, no, he rubbed it in.
And like guys at, you know, kids at school who really didn't like hockey.
Who they lose the 5th cup to? Was that the Oilers or no?
The Oilers.
Yeah.
The Oilers.
And that's
so the Oilers lost to them. Yeah, the Oilers lost to them in the 4th cup. The Islanders swept them 4-0. And everybody thought, Wayne Gretzky, you know, this team, they're going to destroy the Islanders. The Islanders sweep them 4-0. And I'm like, this just gets worse. This is just ridiculous. And then the drive for 5. I mean, all season you hear about it. And then, thank God, like that was a victory in itself, watching Edmonton beat the Islanders, get some sort of relief. But, you know, as a Ranger fan, you know, and I tell the kids about my mom, you know, my mother's 80-something years old. They've only won once in her lifetime. I apologize to my kids. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry I didn't like these other teams that won. But even all New York teams, the Devils haven't won in a while. The Islanders haven't won in a while. But that loss wasn't even like my team, you know.
Yeah,
what I mean?
no, but you saw it, you knew what was coming down the pipe.
You had a feeling of what was going to come, and you know they beat the Rangers in 6 games, and that was the end of that.
When you look back at those Islander teams, that Islander team that won the 4, I mean, it's almost sacrilegious to say, but that was incredible. They were.
Oh, they had like 17 guys won. I think it's like 17 guys won all 4 cups, and the greatest guy on the team, Ken Morrow, was on the U.S. Olympic team.
Yeah.
He won a gold medal in 4 straight Stanley Cups.
Jesus Christ!
And he joined the team after the Olympics.
Yeah,
which was what the Olympics were in February. So he won a gold medal in February, a Stanley Cup in I guess, or maybe April. I don't know when it might not have gone as late. May probably. But just talk about a run walking into that, and then going to five finals.
5 straight, Jesus Christ.
And it was different then because they did, like, the Canadians won a lot of Stanley Cups, but they only played like 2 rounds. A lot of their cups. They didn't have as many series as they have now. So yeah, it was a tough time. I mean, even we found out by accident that even Michael Leone was an Islander fan. He always thought he was a Ranger fan. And I don't know how he was a closet Islander fan. Someone found, like, he left his school bag somewhere.
Yeah.
And like a book was sticking out of his school bag.
Why, he never admitted it?
No.
Wow.
The whole block was Ranger fans.
The whole block. He wouldn't say it. And then, like, his book had "Let's Go Islanders" on the back of it.
What'd you guys do?
I think when we went in his room, he would go upstairs first and put all the Islander stuff away and then let us come up. But we were shocked because nobody had a clue that he was an Islander fan.
All right, my number 4. So I'm also a Giant fan. So Giants obviously won in 86. I got to see celebrated, 1 in 90, amazing teams. LT and Sims and all these guys, incredible stuff. So 92, I think it's 92 season, but it was in 93. So 92, it's really the last run of that group, Sims and LT and all those guys. Sims just won the starting position back from Hostetler, I think that year or the year before. And so he's playing. It's the last game of the season against the Cowboys. Both teams are 11-4. Winner wins the NFC East, home field throughout the playoffs. Now, this is the start of the asshole Cowboy dynasty with Aikman and Emmett and Irvin and all those guys. So LT, I know the Giants are on their way down, but they got one more push, and they get killed in the first half of this game, 13-0. Second half, all of a sudden, Giants are on fire. They come back. Emmitt Smith has a separated shoulder. He doesn't come back out after halftime. They go up. They tie the score 13-13. Goes to overtime. That moron comes out of the locker room, his shoulder's all taped up, and they go on a run, and they can't bring him down. They can't tackle Emmett. He's just 10 yards, drive straight down the field in overtime. Not the first, I don't think it was the first possession, but kick the field goal. Giants get the wild card. They lose shortly. I think they lose the first week. Cowboys, they start their dynasty run. That's it. Cowboys win the Super Bowl. LT, Sims, they released Sims that year. That was Sims' last game as a Giant. They released him in the offseason. He's gone. I think maybe he played for the Cardinals. I don't know if did he ever retire straight from there? I don't remember. He might have played one season or maybe training camp for another team or something, but let him go. LT was basically done at that point too. End of the Giant dynasty and the beginning of the Cowboy dynasty. Crushing.
Of all teams, the Cowboys.
Yeah, and you just saw it coming, and I knew the Giants had one more shot at this, and they had it, and they just let it slip through their fingers. They gave me that hope. Same thing, Billy. If they would have just got blown out, I'm okay. They gave you hope, and they tied the score, went to overtime, ready to go, and no Emmitt Smith, and he comes out of the locker room, and rest is history.
Disaster.
Awful. All right, Greg, back to you. Number 3.
I'm going to follow your lead and go with a football. New York Jets, 1999. Vinny Testaverde. Things are going well. We get to the playoffs. We're going really well. I forget who we beat in the first round. We end up in Denver. We're like huge underdogs in Denver. And I'm sitting in my mother-in-law's house with my stepfather-in-law, and we're watching this game, and he's just, the whole thing is like, they got no shot, Greg. You can't go into Denver and beat Denver. And the whole game is just like a tough game. Get into like the fourth quarter, we're up 10-0 with like 7 minutes to go. And I am just like, this is it. I mean, I can't believe we're up 10-0. We just have to hold on. And we end up blowing the 10-point lead in the last 7 minutes of that game.
Who's it? Is it Elway?
No, in 90. Who was it? Was it Elway? No, I don't think it was Elway. I gotta look that up.
Not Elway anymore. I guess it can't be. When did Elway? No, Elway won.
He won in the early 90s.
Early 90s.
They're just like a pitiful team. I mean, as much as you love all these teams,
they take you right there, and then they just totally.
But they give you hope, They'll
Yeah.
win like the last 3 games of the year, and screw themselves out of a great draft pick, and give you hope. They played solid. They beat like a team that was pretty good. Looking into the next season, and people surmise that they tried to give the Jets and Giants easier schedules in the beginning of the season to keep their fans engaged.
Just to do that?
Just to give you hope.
Great. Wonderful.
Give you a little bit of hope. They'll go 4-3 or whatever. And you're like, oh, they'll win 2 in a row or something like that. And all of a sudden you're like, what?
I can't remember now, but both of these names, I just looked up the roster. It was either Bubby Brister or Brian Greasy.
Oh, yeah. It could have been either one, yeah.
But I think it was Greasy.
Greasy, I think, too, yeah.
Oh, my God. Like, Elway was gone, right? It was like...
Right.
They take you right up to it, and then they just... But, like you said, I'm crushed after these losses. Like, I'm there, and I'm at my mother-in-law's house, and they want to talk about shit. And I just... I'm pounding beers and I'm angry, and I just don't want to talk about it.
Nothing matters. I don't want to talk about anything. Nothing. Everything is irrelevant right now. I'm so mad when that stuff. It ruins. I'm really miserable for about a week.
Yeah,
when these losses happen.
My mother-in-law saying things like, "Greg, do you have high blood pressure? You're very red." Because I'm fucking angry.
I want to kill you right now.
It is. It's just, it really, and again, the grand scheme of things, it means nothing, but God, what happiness it would bring if they would have won.
No,
It's amazing.
I tell people all the time, I actually get zero enjoyment watching sports because the only enjoyment is after. I can, if I get the victory and I can relish in it and breathe, and like I said, watch all my sports talk shows.
Right, that's
and all
when
that
it's
stuff.
great. Right,
that's you can enjoy it. During the game, I'm a complete mess, miserable person to be around. I don't enjoy it. Everyone always invites me out. Oh, Carmine, come over and watch the Ranger game. I said, Carmine, I can't watch it with you. You're gonna be talking to me. I don't want to hear about your fucking Venom statue while I'm watching the Ranger game. I'm gonna smash you in the head with it.
That's so true.
I want to watch a game by myself and be miserable by myself.
Where my TV is in my house, my kitchen is like off to the side of it, and you can see the TV. And half the time, I will watch the game, and I'm in the kitchen walking back and forth, pacing, because I stand up, I start talking to the TV. I'm like, what is he doing? Why is he doing it? What's wrong with him? But my kids are like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with him?
I did not watch that game the other night. I refused to watch the game. I said, I'm not doing this to myself. And my son, who's a little bastard, everyone that I root for, he has to root against, no matter what it is. So he's a Devil fan. He likes the Bucks, and he just told me yesterday that he likes the Mets. So he literally. I said, no, Joe, I'm not watching the game tonight. He goes, no, you're not watching it? He comes over, sits next to me on the couch. We're watching, I don't know, Disney something. He puts his iPad on. He's got ESPN Plus on the iPad. He pulls the game up. He's watching the game next to me, the little bastard.
Nice.
I could see him being a Devils fan, being from Jersey, but the Yankee fan thing.
No, it's anything that I root for, he's got to root against because he's got to dig me.
How old is he, Joe?
7.
7?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's what it is, because he's not picking that up at school yet.
No, it's whatever I'm rooting for, because he knows how crazy I get, and he knows if he says something to the other team, I go crazy on him. He loves it.
Yeah. I wish I would have done that. I would have won a lot of championships.
Well, I always thought that I should always, if I was going to bet against the teams I wanted to win, right? because then it's a win-win, right?
Either way, you're happy. Right?
Either way, I'm happy. Either I'm going to get cash or my team won.
Yeah,
I get something out of it.
It's actually a good way to look at it. I agree.
You know,
come on, Bill.
Billy,
Number
how do
3.
you think growing up with the 6 of us on the block, how do you think we determined who we liked? I mean, I went with what my dad liked as far as
mine was driven by my family and my mom. Where she worked, someone she worked with, her brother was like a vice president in manufacturers Hanovers, and he used to get a lot of free Met tickets. And we went to a decent amount of Met games. I started like the Mets, but Raymond and all of them like the Mets. They like the Rangers. Same thing with you. Basketball, I would flip it on if it was on, but I would never watch a whole game, you know. And football was the Jets, you know. I mean, it's just
because
those teams.
Tommy went with the Yankees, right?
Well, his dad was a Yankee fan, I believe. But he liked the Rangers and all the other, you know, the other teams. But I think his dad was a Yankee fan.
And he was a Jet fan too, right, Tommy?
Yeah. Yep. Are we ready?
And then Michael Leone is an Islander fan.
Yeah, the secret Islander fan, the closeted Islander fan. So this is like wasn't one game in there, but it was like the whole thing. Even when you look back on it, I still like a few weeks ago when the playoffs started, I look back on this and it's still like so close. But 2014, when the Rangers went to the finals, we shared season tickets with a bunch of guys, and you know, I knew like I got game 4, you know, but I knew they wouldn't, you know, unless they were to sweep, I wasn't going to see a Stanley Cup, you know, in game 4. Let alone that I think when I went to that game, I might see the Kings getting the Stanley Cup that day because the Rangers were down 0-3, you know, and then, you know, the whole vibe of it. I mean, when you look on paper, they lost 4 games to 1. 3 games they lost in overtime.
Yeah.
1 game they were out of it. They lost 3-0. And the game that they won, I got to at least go to the game that they won. They won 2-0. And Ranger fans was so upbeat. It was hysterical. So they win game 4, and they're talking about flying to California for game 7, right? I couldn't stop laughing because everybody's sitting around. The game was crazy. Like, it was on edge. I remember the puck fell behind. I didn't know till I got home because the video screen really didn't show it well. The puck fell behind Lundqvist, and everybody thought he was on it, and the ref doesn't blow the whistle. There was like a little pile of snow that was there. Yeah. The puck was slowly edging to go over the line, and it hit this slushy, right? Yeah. It just stopped. And again, they gave you hope. Part of me was almost like, well, I might want to see what it's like that a team to win the Stanley Cup, right? To get the cup and at least see that, even though it's not my team. You know what I mean? Like, to experience it. I
can't believe you just said that.
But just because it's just something interesting to see.
Smash you in the face with the cup right now.
So, but looking back on it, when you look at that series, again, on paper, 4 games to 1. 4 games to 1.
It'll just blend it. Just so you know, this blends right into my next pick is game 5. That's of this series. But you're so right. The series starts. I think the Rangers are up 2-0 immediately in that first game, right?
There was just so many things like crying.
And then they lost game 1 in overtime, right? Game 2 in double overtime.
They changed the rule. Lundqvist gets taken out of the crease.
Of course.
And like, you know, they didn't have the rule that they have now, where that would have definitely been no goal, you know. And then, you know, like I said, at least I experienced them winning a game at the Garden, you know, like the crowd was into it. And again, the enthusiasm by winning one game. We'll go game 7. I'm flying to Los Angeles. I'm going.
That was a series where when we were down 3-0, and then we won that 4th game, the one you're talking about. I really, the way the Rangers were playing, I know the Kings they were big favorites, right? The Kings?
Yeah.
I know we had no business winning, but I felt like we were coming back. And then when that 5th game in overtime, was it double overtime or just overtime?
It might have been double.
The 5th one.
No, I think it was like right at the end of the.
At the end of the first overtime, right? Yeah. I still thought you win that game 5, 3-2, and coming back to the Garden.
Right. That would have been big.
Anything could happen, of course.
Right. You know, and
The Kings won 4 games. 3 of them were overtime.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what you're saying. How close it is the game? I know you didn't watch the game the other night, but the game against Tampa was 2-1, right?
I was peeking.
It looked like Tampa was winning 7-1.
Well, that's why when I texted you guys earlier
But
that
all
day
the
when I
games
said
look that way.
they were going to lose
But they
6-0, it felt like it was 6-0.
They just controlled the whole game, you know.
But that was all the games. That was from the 2-0 mark in game 3.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So
the Rangers never looked like they were going to win again or score.
So that was
they
like
never
the
looked like they were
exact
going to.
opposite,
The
you know?
Rangers never looked like they could even possibly score. From the moment they were winning 2-0 in that game 3, the Rangers never looked like they could even score again. Never a scoring chance.
Yeah.
Except that Strome one where he missed the fucking fan on it.
Right. I was so I almost broke my TV because I don't understand how
went right over the puck.
He didn't get that and it didn't go in. Like I don't know how it didn't happen.
Still don't know how it didn't happen. When that was happening, I swear I had visions of Leach with the puck waiting to shoot to the open net that time. You remember?
Yeah.
And then he caught it, he stopped it, and then he put it in.
Right.
And I just thought how did he miss that thing?
But it took like a few days later to even get more disappointed when you looked how close it really was. Yeah. You know, Kreider hits the post in an overtime, you know, all these things. And Zuccarello wasn't playing that series.
God, of course.
And he would have made a difference on the power plays. He was a patient guy with the puck. He was a playmaker. Yeah, he had a fractured skull. It was almost the end of his career. Yeah. But I think if he was on that, if he was able to play, I think, you know, and again, it's like, what are you going to do? You can't replay the games, but it's still then, right? What happened?
Was concussions that big then?
I don't think but the protocol wasn't.
No, they didn't have it they didn't have to look at it.
But he would have played if his skull wasn't fractured. He would have played.
Yeah.
But you know, not that Lundqvist is Mattingly, but you know, it feels the same. Yes, Lundqvist, absolutely. He should have gotten the cup. Yeah. And you know, I know people like, oh, even that year, they'll be back next year. And obviously, we know what happened with Tampa the next year, but you don't get back. You get to these points and you don't get back. Bullshit.
You don't know, right? You just don't know. It's not guaranteed.
You got to do it when you're there.
Right.
All right. Well, that went right. Like I said, Bill, that went right into my number 3, which was Rangers Game 5. Yep, 2014. So we're back around to you, Greg. Number 2.
Well, I'll stay with the Rangers. Hopefully, I take Billy's number 1 here.
I don't think you'll have my number 1, but maybe.
All right. I'm just gonna go. We'll move through quick because I don't even want to speak about it. It just makes me ill. 2012, Game 6, Devils overtime.
Oh,
come
on.
Quez, what's his name?
I need a moment. Hold on.
What's his name? Enriquez?
I forget.
I think Henrique.
Henrique?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just Henrique. Yeah.
Oh, my Lord. Again, they get you right to the doorstep, and then they just crush you, and it's such a crushing. I called in sick the next day to work.
Yeah,
I literally called in. I was sick, ill. Like
you can't function. Yeah, you can't function.
You know the 7 runs in the first inning. You're right. It's much better to lose
much better
a hockey series.
Yep.
In an overtime. On a goal is just so.
Well, that's. I mean, I have a pretty bad 2 coming up too, but hockey overtime to end the series. There's nothing more nerve-wracking than watching hockey when it's overtime to end your season.
Yeah, because it gets so tight, and then just throwing pucks at the net, any deflection.
At any second, you're dead.
And it's never a good, nice, beautiful goal. It's always some shit off someone's ass, off someone's skate, off, you know.
Yeah, it's
even the other night when they scored that goal, 20 seconds later, when you were kicked in, of course, I immediately had to look and see what the hell was happening. I thought he kicked it at first glance, and then I said, nope.
Yeah.
I just don't know how he didn't grab it. He had this giant, clam glove, right?
Yeah. Listen,
and not only did he not grab it, he pushed his. If he just stayed
Yeah.
still,
Yeah.
he pushed his hand forward like he was throwing it at him.
I'm not saying
and
Igor
it went
wasn't
off
great.
his leg, and I'm like,
he let
no,
in a
he
couple
was,
shit.
he
He
was.
let in a couple shit goals, but listen.
Yes.
They could have lost 7-0, but the goals
Right.
that he let in were shit goals.
Right. And the
Also-
night before, I mean, the other,
Also,
I mean,
I'll
that's
say another thing. What Tampa did was, and it pisses me the fuck off because, like, I love Reeves, but drop your gloves and beat the shit out of someone for us because they were hitting. And I think that Shesterkin was going forward because he was coming towards the net and he didn't want to be pushed into the net.
He wanted to brace himself. Yeah, you're right.
He got hit so much in that series,
Yeah.
you know, and they just did that little, you know, when they're on your team, you don't care, but it's just like,
well,
those
you
little
know,
slashes on the back of the, you know, legs.
When they won in
Felt like we were
'94,
beat up.
when they won in '94, you had Jay Wells and Boogaboom, right? And you were getting mugged if you were there too long.
Yeah, absolutely.
You were there more than 2 seconds, you were going to be cross-checked.
And that's why hockey's so
down
great,
to the
because
ice.
in a series, one game, you might sit in front of that net and get beat up for a little while. It doesn't matter to you. But in a game, 7-game series, after a couple games of getting killed in front of that net or touching the goalie, you're going to think twice about doing it again.
Yes.
Right.
And I just think the Rangers need to get tougher next year. Just tougher.
Well, you hope some of it grows within them to know what they need to do to win. You know, you got to get a little bit of that edge. Even though they lost, Connor McDavid in one of his games led his team in hits. Like, he was hitting everything. Like, you just have to get to that level and realize what it takes to win.
Yeah.
You know, and you got a guy like Steven Stamkos, like 2 Stanley Cups. He's 32 years old. They're sacrificing their bodies. You have to have that mentality if you want to win. And out of all the sports, most of them, you need that loss sometimes to like push you over and like, look what they did. That's why they won. If we're not willing to sacrifice like that, you're not going to win. And even like the Giants, when the Giants won the Super Bowl the year before, the Bears beat them, right?
Yeah,
the Bears were 15-1.
Yeah.
I think that propelled the Giants to win the next
21-0,
season, right?
the Giants lost.
Right. And the Giants won the next season because they knew what it took, you know?
Come on, Bill, number 2.
All right. So this is a very strange one. I got to be honest. I was a Met fan for, my whole life. Like I was telling you, I got to go to all these games. They just went into a terrible run and the Yankees were winning, right? So we go to like 1977. Yankees win the World Series. The Mets win 64 games. They finished 37 games out of first place, right? Next season, 78. The Mets win 66 games, finished 24 games out, right? So I'm like, oh, this is just like tough. And Tommy lives next door. And he's giving it to me. So 1981 comes around, and you know what? I'm changing ship, right? I buy a Yankee hat.
Whoa.
Right? I buy a Yankee hat. I'm done with these Mets. They're terrible 60-win seasons. I live in New York. I can root for them, right? No one's going to say anything, right?
Are you crazy?
So the Yankees have a good season. They make it to the World Series. I'm rooting for them. I go up to Dick's Deli. I get my Dipsy Doodles and my soda, and I'm watching the games. Every game, I get my Dipsy. And they lose. They lose to the Dodgers. They're up 2-0 to the Dodgers and lose 4 straight. And that fat meatball, Tommy Lasorda, jumping up and down on the field. I was like, I can't win. I can't
Sounds
win.
like you jinxed him, personally jinxed him, Bill.
Maybe I might
you
have.
switched
I
over.
absolutely I switched over.
Yeah. If I was Snyder and I knew you switched over and they lost, I would have pummeled you.
I loved Ron Guidry, the Gator. So did you, Joe. Right, funny story about the Gator.
Tell that story. Go ahead.
I'll tell you quick, but we went out to the Bordy Barn and we're driving home, and Leanne's pregnant at the time. She was, she drove, and Joey's in the backseat of the car with his wife. We're crippled. And Joey just starts going, the Gator, the Gator. And I'm like, what? He had his Ron Guidry shirt on, and he spilled something on the shirt. And he's just incoherently, the Gator.
I was so mad. The Gator.
Oh my God, crippled. But he knew he stained the Gator shirt. Like
I got my who's on my back? Pagliarulo?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh
wow.
But maybe
So
I
you-
got what I deserved for switching. But
That is what you never. First of all, listen. As much as we have heartbreaking stories, you can never switch.
I had to.
teams.
But you know what?
No.
Wait. Hold on a second. I think you can, Billy. Tampa Bay is a great team. Next year.
my niece, they live in Tampa, and she
Good, perfect. She get you a hat.
She did. She bought. I have a Tampa Bay. I have a Tampa Bay championship shirt from last year.
Oh Jesus Christ!
She sent it for my birthday. But I think like Greg, I think you were saying or whatever. It's like I've changed where if the Yankees go to the World Series, I will root for the Yankees and want them to win. If the Islanders will go to the Stanley Cup, I can't root for the Islanders. The Devils, I can't root for them. The Giants go, I'd root for the Giants. Even the Nets, if the Nets,
So what? But what? Why does it make one? Why one is okay and one's not? What's the differences?
Probably because of the 5 years of pain of
at
watching
that
them
age,
win
at young
being
age, we were
being
brutalized.
abused, right? Brutalized. It wasn't even. It just like everybody knew, and it was just so 5 years of absolute when you're young. What
of course.
Yeah.
And what are those kids into?
So,
Sports, they love it.
Cable. We would sit by the
Right.
lamppost outside my house with a transistor radio.
Yeah,
listening to the games.
we only got the
As we
road
got
games.
A little older. That was probably in 79, 80. And then in 82, towards the end of their run, we used to walk to Avenue U because there was a bar that had a satellite and we would look in the window. Remember?
Watch outside the window, and the guy would come out and chase us away. I remember one time we went to do that, and this is just typical Snyder, but me, Tommy, and my cousin Russell go, and Russell's brother Raymond went to the game. He had tickets to go to the playoff game, and then Tommy just kept on saying, he goes, Raymond's mother's a flyer. Right? And Russell goes, hey, that's my mother. Tommy goes, oh shit, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. About an hour later, Raymond's mother's still a flyer. That's my mother. Don't call my mother a flyer. He had like, this was a quick classic. We go to the Garden. They're having the World Championships. Like the NHL players are all playing in the World Championships, and the Team USA is playing Russia, and there's a lot of Russian people there, and they're rooting. And the crowd's chanting Shyboo, Shyboo, right? And we're like, what the hell are they saying, Shyboo? So Tommy asks, and the person goes, excuse me, what does that mean? He goes, it means put puck in net. Tommy looks at the person and starts screaming, no Shyboo, no Shyboo. He just starts screaming at the top of his lungs. And everybody's like, what the hell is he doing? No Shyboo for you.
Oh my God.
So anyway.
Come on, Bill. Number two. What do you got?
Number two. No, wait. Oh, you went already?
No,
wait.
Greg went. Yeah, Greg was the Rangers Devils, right?
Yep.
Wait, number two?
Number two. Your number three was Rangers, 2014.
No, I just did the Yankees when I switched to Yankees. It's you,
John.
The Yankees. That was what I thought you were just telling a story.
No, that was one of my tough losses. Like I switched teams. I made an effort. I got a Yankee hat and everything, and they lost. I went to the evil empire.
So what happened the next year? Did you go right back to Mets, I guess?
No, that's when I sort of like it's similar to what, again, me and Greg are like brothers when it comes to sports, but it was like if the Yankees and Mets were playing, I'm rooting for the Mets, but I didn't really care after that. Like if the Yankees won, great, the Yankees won. Like I wanted the Yankees to win when they won all those series, except when they played the Mets that time.
I just could never be like that just because my friends, first of all, most of my friends were Mets fans growing up, just because I'm a little younger, and 86, obviously I was destroyed, and most of my friends were Met fans at that time. So when the other team in New York would win, half of the people that I knew would be killing me, rubbing it in my face. So I could never root for that other team. Like even in 86, as much as I was a Yankee fan, I mean, I didn't have a Red Sox hate yet. I was rooting for the Red Sox. There's no way I'm rooting for the fucking Mets. There's just no way. I couldn't. just because I would get killed, but all my friends would rub it in. Mets won. Same thing if I could never root for the Jets or the Islanders or anything. It's just an impossibility. All right, my number 2. So back to the Yankees. So Yankees are on an incredible run. Obviously, they after my heartbreaking loss in '95, they win in '96. Maybe best team ever. They lost in '97. Mariano gave up the hit to the Indians, but '98 best team ever. Destroyed everybody. Swept the Padres. '99 beat the Braves again. Easy series. They're flying, right? 2000. Here we go against the Mets. Yankees have nothing to win here. Either if they win, great. They're supposed to win. They'll be the 3-time defending champions. But if they lose to the Mets, forget it, right? It's the end of the Yankee dynasty because the Met fans can brag that we beat them. Doesn't matter. We kill the Mets. Mets are destroyed. It was 4-1, right?
Yep.
4-1. Next season, towers go down. 9/11 happens. America is fucking destroyed. Baseball comes back in October. The Yankees are having this spectacular run in the 2001 playoffs. Amazing run. Home runs and walk-off home runs by Tino and walk-off home runs by Jeter and crazy comeback victories all across the board, even through the World Series. Goes to Game 7, World Series, Game 7. Yankees are winning, 9th inning. Mariano's on the mound. Game is over. We're about to win our 4th straight, 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5.
4 out. Yep. Right. 4 out of 5. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 out of 5. No. Yeah. 4 out of 5. Right. No. 98, 99, 2000. 4th straight. 5 out of 6.
Was that going to be 4 in a row?
Yeah. Would have been 4 in a row. We won 98, 99, 2000.
96 you won 2.
And 96. So we won 4 already out of the last 5. This would have been 5 out of 6. So, of course, we all know what happened. Mariano gives up a bloop base hit to, what the hell's his name again?
Luis Gonzalez.
Yep, Gonzalez. Walk off. The storybook was there for New York to be victorious and heartbreaker.
Totally forgot about that game.
2-2, bottom of the 9th. Game 7 of the World Series. Bases loaded. Floater, center field. The Diamondbacks are world champions.
I'm not even a Yankee fan. I would have had that as mine. I remember I was crushed too because
devastated.
Everything.
We deserved as a city.
Yes. That would have been my number 1 if I would have remembered.
Championship.
Yeah, it was you could see it coming. The storybook ending was there. It was all there. It was ready to go. And I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
That bloop hit. They tied it first, of course, and then that bloop hit to win it. Walk off.
That was
devastating.
Again, right. It just like for the city and what the city went through.
Yeah, and listen, I know it's hard to say. I know it's hard to say that's a hard loss because it would have been your 4th straight 5 out of 6. Give me, people are like, give me a break. But that was a hard one. It was a walk-off. The Yankees just had to, you just felt like they were going to win it.
Those are the ones that you thought were destined to win.
Yeah,
like it was destiny. It was going to happen.
That was the freaking Randy Johnson Schilling series.
Was that the bloody ankle series?
No, that was when he was with the Red Sox. That's coming soon. All right, we're up to our number 1s. Let's recap. Greg, number 5, game 7, Knicks Rockets, 94. Number 4, 2007, the Mets blow their 7-game lead with 17 to play. Number 3, the Jets 1999 lost to Denver to go. They would have went AFC Championship game, right?
AFC Championship, yeah.
Would have gone to the Super Bowl. Number 2, 2012 Rangers Devils.
Ugh.
Number 1, worst loss in sports history for you.
Well, my number 1 is AJ Dewey, the Mud Bowl. But I'm going to pivot, bring in one of the ones that was up on the list also. 2006, Mets playing the Cardinals. It's a close game throughout. Andy Chavez makes the best catch in playoff history, goes over the wall, pulls back a home run. Again, it's destiny. It's destined to happen. And we blow it. Carlos Beltran.
Beltran caught looking, right?
Still
not looking.
I know.
I'm still waiting for him to swing.
Swinging. Third strike.
Right now, their leading hitter all time against the Cardinals in postseason play at the plate. Beltran has murdered Cardinal pitching over the last 2 postseasons that he's played against them. Here tonight, he has doubled and scored. He's flied to left. He's grounded out, and he's walked. Bases loaded, 2 out. Cardinals up by 2 in the pitch. Fastball, Steve right ball. Loaded, 2 down, the pitch. Curveball, swinging at Beltran. He is ready. So is Wainwright. The 0-2 delivery. Curve struck him out looking. The Cardinals are going to Michigan to take on the Tigers. They mob Adam Wainwright on the mound.
It looked like he was looking at a wiffle ball, right? One of those crazy wiffle ball pitches.
Yeah, it was the craziest. And I was in a bar in Park Slope. I had just opened up my business that year in May. And we'd always go to this bar and have dinner. And the Mets went on their run. So we were always there watching every game. And the crowd just got bigger and bigger and bigger as you went further on, like we saw with the Rangers this year. As you get deeper, fans come out more and more. And it was when that curveball.
Oh, I remember like it was yesterday.
I'm still waiting for him to swing.
So silent. And it was just like, I literally took my keys and I walked out of the bar. Irish goodbye. Didn't say anything to anyone. Got in the car. Drove home so angry.
Good.
And you can't even put on like the post game the next day, like you said.
No, nothing. You can't watch. You can't even watch others. You can't watch anything because if a clip of that comes on, you're destroyed. You're done.
I don't even know. Did the Cardinals win that year? I don't even know who won.
06.
They might have.
Yeah, I think they might have.
Yeah, no, I stopped watching. I was just like so. And
yeah,
you know,
oh God,
it's just funny how people don't. Some people. My wife's not a sports person, and she's watched me over the last 26 years, 27 years, slowly die. And the Jets, the Rangers, and the Mets, and the Knicks. I got no shot.
I mean, at least, you know, obviously we're telling our heartbreak stories. At least I have a lot of joy throughout these years, too. You guys have almost nothing.
I have 86 and 94. That's it.
Oh.
And when Sam Rosen said, this one will last a lifetime.
He was right.
I keep on telling myself that. I guess so.
I didn't think he literally meant.
Yeah, he literally meant it.
That has to. It's going to have to last our lifetime at least.
This is all you're getting, pal.
All right, Billy, we're up to your number 1. So number 5, AJ Dewey.
Yeah.
Number 4, the Islanders beat Pittsburgh to move on against the Rangers, and of course we know what happened there. Number 3, Rangers again, 2004, same as mine. Number 2, Billy switches teams. He says, finally, I'm going to get a championship. He moves over to the Yankees, and he jinxed them in 1981, lost to the Dodgers. Good work, Billy.
Right into the wall.
And your number 1 sports loss of all time.
This is more than just losing a game. It was a whole process that made this even worse. Now, I get very nervous about watching these games to begin with. So 2015, Rangers, Lightning, right? So same thing happens. Series is tied 2-2. We have a game at home. We lose 2-0. We lose 2-0. We go to Tampa Bay. I didn't go. The Rangers go to Tampa Bay and win 7-3. So again, still have season tickets. Who's going to game 7? Who's going to game 7? I get convinced because technically it was my turn to go. I didn't want to go. I did not want to go. But I am told What is wrong with you?
Of course.
It's your turn to go. It's a game 7. They could win and go to the Stanley Cup. You know, you don't get these experiences. I don't want to go. Right? I go. And I get to the game, and my other friend, Anthony, it wasn't his turn to go. So it was with one of the other guys. I knew him, but I didn't know him that well. And was sitting down and watching warm-ups, and Ryan McDonough is not on the ice. Right? And some guy knows why he's not on the ice, but he's going to tell us after he finishes his hot dog. He goes, I know he's not. I know why he's not there. I'll tell you in a minute. Right? He's eating his hot dog. Like, turns out he had like a fracture in his foot, and they gave him a shot, and it hadn't taken effect yet. Right? So he doesn't start the game. The game goes on. We all knows what happened. And the whole time, the guy I'm with, there's no way they're getting shut out this game. There's no way. There's not going to happen. Keep on going. Keep on going. They get lost. I sit there stunned, and I watch whatever that stupid trophy is gets handed out. And I sit there. Now it's time to leave.
What they lose? 2-0, right?
2-0. 2-0. Gave me zero hope. Nothing. Not even anything close. So devastated. And that same night, there was like a family party that I missed. Hoping to catch up with them. Everybody left the party already. They went home because the Rangers killed the whole vibe, right? Like usually, you know, the party ended at 11. People would go out. Nah, killed the whole vibe. I get on the train, and I'm wearing my Ranger jersey, and I'm pissed that they lost. And the train pulls into Kings Highway, and the doors don't open. And the train takes off.
It just kept, what happened?
I'll tell you what, it stops. So I'm on the B train, no less. And it stops at Cheapside Bay. It's now at Cheapside Bay. The conductor sticks his head out the window as the door opens. And he goes, the doors didn't open? I lose it. I start screaming, you have one job. Do, open the damn door. Open the damn door. That's all you had to do. People are moving away from me. They say, you didn't see that nobody got off the back of the train. Not one person got off. Aren't you supposed to look? I lost it. As I'm screaming at him, the train going back is across the platform.
You could have just ran over.
I attempted to run across. I didn't make it. I got home, and I just sat there. And I just wanted to, you know, not knowing what channel the TV was set on, and to what you guys were saying, you just don't want to see it.
No,
I clicked the button, Tampa Bay, and they touched the stupid trophy. I'm like, oh, it was so, like, the anger that was inside of me. Like, I just couldn't believe that. One, I didn't want to go because I was afraid this was going to happen. It's such a weird, you know, dynamic in that. Why am I afraid to go to this?
No, I gotta tell you,
I not want to go.
Bill,
like, why did I not want to go?
I'm that way too. I
you know,
if I'm in that state, I can't enjoy I'm gonna be a nervous wreck. I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy myself. I almost have to hide it like under the covers watch the game. Like it's a horror movie.
Yeah.
When they won in 94, I watched the game in my basement by myself. Greg flipped the coin, heads or tails. He went to Flatbush Avenue. That was with Ray. And Tommy and my cousin Ray watched the game in Ray's base. I watched the game by myself because we so thought they were going to win. Like they destroyed them in Vancouver. They were coming back. Then in game 5, they're down by like 2 or 3 goals. They tie it up. We're like, yeah. And then, like, all of a sudden, we're in a game 7.
Yeah.
Even when they blew that stupid whistle for the icing.
Oh, my God.
I was like...
Well, just because what we just went through the last series with the Devils tying it with 3 seconds left. We knew if there's time on the clock.
We're in trouble.
It could be 0.1 seconds left, and somehow that puck's going to hit them.
Yep.
I think the Rangers as an organization have given up more goals in the last 30 seconds of playoff games than any other team.
I mean, before the internet, I used to get the hockey encyclopedia, right? And they had all these records in the back, most this, most that. It seemed like 70% of them happened against the Rangers. I just scroll through. Oh, look at this. Most goals. Oh, Rangers. Most goals in 3 seconds. Get Rangers. Most this. Most that. Most this. It was. I'm telling you, as a team, as you love and you hate them, and they do bring you some happiness, but it's gonna have to last a lifetime.
Did they give a trophy after the series?
What happened?
I turned it off. Did they give them a trophy?
Yeah, they get when there's 2 trophies, and they touched it. There's this jinx that you shouldn't touch it, but they touched it last year too, and they were like, "Screw this!" And Messier picked it up when the Rangers won. He was like, "Listen, we just won this. I'm picking it up, right?"
I don't recall that at all.
Yeah, there's like a thing with everybody always says, "Oh, they're gonna touch it,"
You
and
can't
not
touch it because that's not the trophy you want, right? All that, yeah.
And you hear what I was thinking. The Rangers win if the Rangers win the Stanley Cup, they don't have a captain. Who picks up the cup?
Right.
All 3 of them grab it at the same time.
Kreider would be the guy.
Yeah, I would say Kreider.
He has the A, right?
Well, there's 4 of them have the bunch of them.
Kreider's the longest.
Yeah, Kreider for sure.
Right.
But I don't have to worry about that, right? So
yeah, exactly right. All right. Let's recap mine. Number 5, Yankees Mariners 95. Number 4, Giants Cowboys 92. The end of the Phil Simms LT era against the Cowboys. Number 3, Rangers, same thing, 2014, Game 5, double OT, or actually single OT. Number 2, 2001 World Series, Yankee loss against the Diamondbacks. My number 1, most heartbreaking sports moment of all time. Again, this is not just one game. If it was just one game, I wouldn't really have this one, but obviously the 2004 Yankees Red Sox collapse.
Oh,
up 3-0.
Yeah.
To the heated rivals Red Sox, who haven't won since 1918. We could rub it in again. And they come back not only to beat us. If they came back to beat us and then lost the World Series, I'd almost laugh. I'd almost like it because it would still be great. They came back and beat us and then went on to win their first World Series in almost 100 years. Yes, right. To end the Babe Ruth jinx. Nothing worse. I remember, what were we at? Your wedding? Was it?
Yeah.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Billy's wedding.
Right.
The 19-3, 19-8, whatever the hell the game was, when Pedro says, the Yankees are my dad, or my daddy, whatever it is, right? That game season's over. It's Game 3. They just killed in Game 3. They're up 3-0. And then all hell broke loose from there. Rodriguez tries to hit the ball out of the glove at first base. And Game 7, they start, who the hell started for the Yankees? Game 7. Oh, my God. Who the hell was it? I forget a pitcher, some old pitcher gave up, again, same thing like the Mets, gave up 5 runs in the first inning. Just misery. There's nothing, there will be and never ever will be a sports collapse like that. Because of, not only because it was 3-0 down, but it was because it was the biggest rivalry in sports against the team that hasn't won in 100 years. How could anyone ever duplicate that again? It's impossible. Worst loss in the history of sports.
That was I felt for you.
And you saw it coming when it was 3-1.
I don't remember this pitcher. Jay Vasquez?
Vasquez was the pitcher? No. He didn't start that game.
Kevin Brown?
Kevin Brown started that game. Yep, that's who it was. Kevin Brown started Game 7. Yep, got killed.
Wow. Yeah, I remember
Kevin Brown. That's who. Yep.
Your wedding, Billy, or was it an engagement party, or?
It was my wedding.
At Michael's.
Yeah, Michael's.
I remember I was sitting in the bar watching, going crazy.
Yeah, I remember people running, running back and forth, to catch the game and stuff like that. And I don't know what I was thinking when we were going to have that wedding. We thought, oh, well, maybe we'll have a cash bar. My looked at me, what are you, crazy? With the way people drink, that was the only time, and I don't think people stayed, they catch a half inning, come back when the Yankees were up and come back in. But I remember just that the score was a blowout. They killed them that game.
Yeah. I think it was 19-6 or 8 or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a beatdown.
Again, I mean, not only could I not watch, I don't think I watched sports for almost a year after that. I couldn't watch ESPN for almost a year.
And it is what it's in your face, like you said, you don't want to hear about it. And that's what's wrong. That's what's tough about the playoffs, because it used to be, even the hockey players, you would play back to back. You'd have a travel day when they switch cities. You play back to back games. So when you start hearing, they're fatigued. Back in the day, they didn't even have a day off.
Of course. And these days off killed me too. After a loss, a day off.
Yes.
I can't watch again. I'm miserable.
It's just, and they, now they have nothing to talk about, right? So they just keep on showing everything over again,
Yep. This was a good one. Yeah, these are heartbreaking moments. I mean, I'm glad I'm not the only one that's miserable most of the time.
I got to be honest. Most of the end of these shows that I've been on, we're laughing and.
Yeah, I'm kind of depressed.
There's a little like.
No, this is definitely a downer. That's for sure.
Yeah, right. That's just not like. Good show, boys.
All right. To end it on a good note, let's give one Tommy Snyder story before we go.
Come on, Billy. Give me here's a good sports Snyder story. So me and Snyder, game 6 against the Devils. No, what am I talking about? Game 6. Game 7 against the Devils. 94. We're in Florida, at Disney in Orlando. We're in the hotel room. We're watching the game. Colin's there. Dennis is there. We're hammered. We're ready to go out for the night. We're literally going out for the night. Celebrating. The game is over. We're going to the cup, baby. This game is over. Devils score. Pure misery sets in. We decide, you know what? We're not ruining our vacation. Obviously, the Rangers are losing this game. We already said the game is over. Rangers are losing this game. We go to downtown Orlando. We said, you know what? Let's just go out and have fun tonight. We're not dealing with it. We didn't watch overtime.
Really?
Went downtown, went to Orlando, got to wherever we were going, walking around. We see the Hooters. There's a TV on in the bar in Hooters, and it's like the second floor from where we're walking on the street drinking. And we see the two teams coming together. We don't know who won.
Yeah.
We know it's over. We go, should we go look? We go, I guess we got to at least go look. We go up, we find out that the Rangers won. Now we're in the middle of Florida. Nobody gives a shit about it. Number one, nobody cares about hockey. Nobody cares about the Rangers or the Devils. Mm-hmm. We tackle each other through a table in Hooters, flipping out like maniacs, celebrating. That was a good one.
That was awesome.
I have a Tommy story, but he was playing. It wasn't with him watching a game, but we were in the softball championships, and his dad came to see the game. Tommy's dad came. So Tommy gets a single, and you could take off on the swing, right? I'm at first base. I go, Tom, remember, it's on the swing. You can't go before the swing. It's on the swing. I turn around and walk, and the umpire goes, "You!" I go, "What?" Tommy's father goes, "Asshole."
Not to the ref, to you, right?
No, to Tommy. He was like,
he
came up from Pennsylvania to see this. We were going to win. We were going to win the championship, right? The Kings Plaza Softball League. This was the finals. And I was like, I don't understand what happened. That was torture in itself. That's another story. It ended up happy, but it was so funny. I mean, there's a whole, you could do tons of Tommy stories. I know you always say we should do it, but
we got to do a whole episode.
I think the statute of limitations is up on most of these, so he'd be all right and he'd be safe. And we'll change the names of the other people to protect the innocent.
Come on, Greg, give us one.
So it's a memory I have, and Billy, maybe you could correct me on this. We were young, and Tommy, what does Tommy do? I know he bats one way and throws the other, right?
Right. He bats righty. He throws lefty, right?
Throws lefty. Yeah. So he didn't know he threw lefty. So as a kid, he used to throw righty, and he kind of looked like horrible. It looks like you throw with your left hand, and he couldn't throw a ball, and he would just try to throw it, and he couldn't throw a ball. And then I think his dad goes, try with the other arm, and he just picked up, because he was batting righty. He thought he should throw righty, and he picked up a ball and he threw it like perfect.
He always had like the ability to, like, if none of us played something before, he always would kind of pick it up first, but he didn't know. And, the rest of us looked very, very strange throwing with the other hand, but he didn't look terrible, but it definitely wasn't right.
When we were in the Hamptons, we played wiffle ball all the time. He had shoulder surgery. So we obviously, wiffle ball was our life in the Hamptons. All we did was play 24 hours a day. He had shoulder surgery on his left shoulder one summer. So he was miserable because there was only a couple pitchers that really could pitch. And he taught himself to pitch right-handed wiffle ball for the rest of the summer. He pitched right-handed. It wasn't like he pitched left-handed. There was no velocity, but he was still getting the ball to move and stuff with his right hand. He looked all, but it still moved. It was good.
And, out of all this, the greatest day, and it goes back to the Knicks too, was the day, the parade, the day of the parade when the Rangers won in '94. And it just shows you like no respect. OJ's driving around his Bronco. It's after the parade. We're actually watching the Knicks game in a bar, and all of a sudden it's like they switch. They're like, watch OJ drive across. Like the Knicks couldn't even get
That's
the
right.
respect that
God,
they
that's
deserve.
the same year, right?
Who cares? This guy's driving in his Bronco.
All right, boys, this was a good one.
All right.
Please, everyone out there, obviously, we're from New York, so these are all New York sports stories. If you guys have any of your heartbreaking sports moments, they can't be worse than my Yankees Red Sox moment, but please try your best.
AJ Dewey.
Send them to us at top5withjoeycassata@gmail.com. That's top5withjoeycassata@gmail.com. You can get all the top 5 merch on Amazon.com. Just type in Joey Cassata or top 5 with Joey Cassata. It'll come up. That drink until you're a Snyder shirt is not part of our merchandise, but we will come up. There's got to be a good slogan we can come up with for a doctor shirt. Right?
Yeah, that's a contest.
Yeah, you know what? That is a good contest. Just send some submissions for what you think the doctor shirt should be. I made up some mock stuff that I sent them. It's like him and mad scientist with alcohol and stuff. He didn't like it. So if you guys can come up with a good doctor shirt, send me some ideas at top5withjoeycassata@gmail.com. Greg, any last words?
No, just always a pleasure coming on. Love the show. Watch it every week. Listen to it in the car and then watch it on YouTube. So I go through it twice. But not when what's his name? Your bassist is doing it.
DeVito?
I don't have enough hours in the day to watch the DeVito podcast.
Well, his ratings were the only ones lower than yours, Greg. So if you can pull your ratings together.
Pulling it up. I'm sending it out to all 3 of my Instagram followers.
We promise if we get some good ratings, we will have you back again. Billy, any last words?
If anybody knows who this guy is over here in my picture, I'd love to hear somebody knows. Just
you don't remember it? That's North Carolina. They lost in the Final Four, and he's crying.
Is that what it is?
It's either North Carolina or Duke. I remember.
The baby
Final
blue,
Four
right?
loss. Yeah.
I can't tell. Amazing.
If he watches the podcast, that'd be awesome. And if you're gonna drink until you're a Snyder.
Very good.
On that note, we'll see you next week.